Hi. Confirmatio or confirmation are the body paragraphs that are the most common in persuasive writing, right? They're going to form the bulk of your writing in any persuasive essay. They're the paragraphs that prove your thesis and explain your thinking, and they're going to give you the most amount of points, generally, whenever you're writing persuasive essays. So let's get into it. It's important to keep in mind that the whole point of these confirmation paragraphs is to prove your thesis, right? So don't forget, without this thesis, your body paragraphs aren't going to mean a whole bunch, because these green body paragraphs here, their whole point of existing is to prove this red thesis, which usually shows up at the end of your intro paragraph. And these body paragraphs together create a line of reasoning. And I'll go a little bit more into that in here and in the video that deals with line of reasoning. Okay, so let's talk about the parts. Let's talk about how you come up with the arguments in your body paragraphs or your confirmation paragraphs. So when you think about SCUMI or STID or any of the other acronyms that we covered, or the topoi or loci we will cover, you want to look at all your brainstorming that you came up with. And what you want to do is, based on the prompt and based on what you came up with in your brainstorming, you want to think about which examples and arguments seem to be the best compared to the bad ones, which arguments and examples seem to have some sort of connection to each other or a line of reasoning that makes them work together, that makes them cohesive. And you want to look at all the arguments and examples that you think are most relatable to everyday people, right? Especially the people that are grading you, right? What's most relatable? What's most compelling to the most amount of people? Now, once you've decided the things you want to talk about, then you're going to have to package those things in those body paragraphs. So what actually goes in those confirmation paragraphs, right? Well, it always starts with a topic sentence, right? This is usually a reason for believing your thesis. Then you can provide evidence, real world evidence, right? Think of the different types of evidence that you have, and you can give evidence that supports that particular claim, and then you're going to have to explain that evidence, because evidence is not self-evident. It demands explanation. Now, if you don't have any real world evidence, you can always come up with a hypothetical example that's completely plausible, that's believable. And that too will also require you to explain how it proves the claim. And of course, once you explain how the specific evidence or hypothetical example you provided proves your claim, you're going to add a little bit of nuance to it, right? You're going to talk about the limits of this claim, or you're going to talk about the ultimate effects or the morals and values that it's connected to, or the significance as it relates to human nature, relationships, or society. And we'll look at some examples. Now, an alternative to this is you can just give a whole series of extended or a whole series of evidence or examples. So it's almost like a machine gun rapid fire list of things that prove your claim, and then just kind of explain what they have in common and how that proves your claim. Usually this ends up being longer than a typical body paragraph, so you kind of run out of room for the nuance, especially under timed conditions. And then regardless of which path you take, you always want to end at least your beginning body paragraphs, your beginning confirmation paragraphs, with transition sentences, okay? And that'll help you establish your line of reasoning. So let's take a look at two examples. All right, so think back on the example we did for SCUMI regarding paying students for good grades. I'm not going to read this out loud to you. You can just pause it and read the examples, but here's the thesis that would be at the end of the intro. This would be the topic sentence for this body paragraph, followed by evidence, followed by the explanation of the evidence, giving a little bit of nuance and significance to the evidence and argument, followed by a transition sentence. I would pause here and read all of the examples so you can kind of see what's being done in each of these sections. So topic sentence, evidence, which is a personal anecdote, explanation of how my evidence proves my point, a little bit of nuance thrown in there, talking in the more general about people and life, and then transitioning to what my next body paragraph is going to be about. Okay, let's take a look at another example. This is based off of the STID prompt, adversity leading to strength. So here's my topic sentence. Here's my list of examples. It's a whole series, right? Here's what they have in common together. And this is how they work and how they prove my point. And then transition sentence. And again, this body paragraph kind of shows you that third option when we were going over the different parts of a confirmation paragraph, where you just have a series of examples followed by an explanation. So you can pause and you can read and get a feel for it, but otherwise, those are the parts of it. So for confirmation paragraphs, it's important to remember that confirmations allow the reader or listener to understand why you think whatever it is you think, and connecting the body paragraphs using transition sentences helps you create a line of reasoning, which is really important in persuasive writing, especially at the advanced level. All right, that's it. High five for learning. Let me know if you have any questions.